back at it again. Today we're reacting to craziest courtroom moments. You know what's crazy? Sometimes I'm depending. I'm thinking, what should I react to? You know. And last night, after I recorded some videos yesterday, I'm in bed, 1 a.m. and all of a sudden I stumble upon courtroom videos, and the one I watched last night was ones of fights breaking out, like dads fighting, brothers of like a mom that died attacking their killer, and it got me hype. Like I was like, yo, let him at him. Like I don't know why the cops are so quick to just aggressively put them to the ground, put him in handcuffs. I'm like, yo, they understand the situation. You know what I mean? Give him a couple minutes. Like even the last one was a mom got killed, the husband or the boyfriend killed him, and the daughter and the two sons were not testifying, but came to the court. The daughter was talking, breaking down, crying, and the two sons jumped over, tried to fight him. They kind of got him for a little bit. They had to tase the two sons. Tell me why they both got arrested, but I think one of them is still doing time now. I don't know when that happened, but I'm like, yo, come on though, why are you giving them? You understand the circumstances, you're acting like they wouldn't do the same, and you're giving them time. It doesn't even make sense because there's a reason why he attacked him, and it's not like he killed him in court. If he killed him in court, okay, different, but if they just attacked him, punched him up, bruised him up a little bit, why are you giving him time? I'm not gonna lie, the court system, it just don't make sense. But today we're reacting to craziest courtroom moments of all time. So I don't know. Hopefully they should have some fights on here. I don't know.
Saying pull the trigger to kill your sons, now masturbates to memory.
You just give me 40 years, sir.
Oh shoot.
You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, what's this?
Is he laughing? Wait, hold up. Okay, we gotta go. You better explain what he got 40 years for, and what did he pull out? The tissue? Yo, that guy took off. But what did he? I'm confused. What did he do? What did he pull? He pulled. Wait, that was off of his cat. No, that's not a cast. You know what this reminds me of? This intro, Spider-Man 3. If you ever watched that, I don't know, it's similar.
This is Jaleel Smith Riley, who is facing charges for murder in Michigan. Smith Riley was involved in an armed robbery on November 16th, 2013 in Norwood, where he and two other men approached a parked car. Inside the parked car was 20-year-old Portia Brooks and her boyfriend, Aaron Martin. Smith Riley knocked on the window with a handgun and forced Martin, who was in the passenger seat, out of the car. Jaleel then proceeded to go through Aaron's pockets and demanded his cash. Once Jaleel had taken every dollar Aaron had, he then took his life with a shot to the head, causing permanent brain damage. However, Jaleel wasn't done there. Right after shooting Aaron, he then leaned into the car and fired at Brooks, who was sitting in the car, twice. And she died 3 days later. Fortunately, Martin survived the shooting, but sustained serious injury. Before the judge announced the sentence that Jaleel would be facing, Portia's family got the chance to address the jury and the man who took their daughter away from them. Sharon Brooks, Portia's mother, brought the box containing her daughter's ashes to the courtroom, as she had for previous court dates.
One thing with me is, I know the Bible says vengeance is the Lord's. I don't know what scripture that is, but me, I'm not gonna lie. God forbid anything happens to me like that, especially your girl, your mother. At that point, I'm not resting until I come up with a way to get my get back. It might not be the next day, but eventually I'm gonna get my. Listen, you're not just gonna do that and go, yo. That is crazy. Like that's what, that could really turn a good person into the most devious person you ever met. That person, that kindest person you ever know, could turn into John Wick after something like that happens. Because why? Like, the man had to rob him, take his life for what? Could have just robbed him. He had to kill him and his girl for what? We didn't. The guy survived, but for what reason? Like, my first thought was maybe, okay, gang affiliation. He had to kill someone, rob someone to get in a gang. But just because, it's like crazy.
She stated that Smith Riley had ruined her life and killed her identity as a mother of 3.
This is what I have left because of his greed, his selfishness, his complete disregard of and disrespect of others and life. But as you can see, I get nothing back except the reality that she is gone.
Tia Marie Brooks, Portia's sister, also spoke
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna find out that jail, and I'm gonna find someone else in that jail, like one of the inmates, find out their family, their friends, and be like, yo, anybody in that jail that's having life, that can't do any, like, you have life, hey, if you care about your family, I'll get your son right, I'll get your daughter right, I'll give them a bag for you just to go deal with him, and maybe not even kill him in jail, because that might be too easy. You know what I mean? You might have to twist them inside out, if you know what I mean. But then again, I don't know if the man might start to like it. So, you know what? Just make his time the worst time in there. Like, you can't be in jail. Because I feel like sometimes jail isn't even that bad for some people. Like, the stuff they do, it's like they in jail. But what? They get food, education. They're really chilling. Like, of course, they can't see outside ever again. But still, it's like they're still kind of living all right. They're kind of taken care of. They could work out, be healthy. It's like, nah, like,
emotionally and requested that Smith Riley be handed the maximum sentence.
I have to deal with life without Portia, so he should deal with life without parole.
Then, Aaron, who Jaleel shot in the head, spoke to the court.
She's still here with us, and
he got shot in the
always
head.
be here. So she's our angel looking over us, helping us get through these hard times.
As if Smith Riley's crime was not outrageous enough, his reaction to his sentence was even more dramatic. During the trial on August 11th, 2021,
he better
Smith
not
Riley
cry.
pleaded guilty to aggravated murder and attempted murder. However, he later decided to withdraw his guilty plea against the advice of his attorneys.
Well, from the beginning, this was an emotional day for the families of both of these victims.
Kid, why you
When
running across the
Smith
street
Riley
like that?
decided to reverse his plea halfway through the sentencing hearing. They were shocked, and his attorneys were too. And
Ascension WoW is a standalone World of Warcraft private server that reimagines WoW in a brand new way.
part because it puts the death penalty back on the table.
Prior to receiving his sentence, Jaleel was heard apologizing in court as what appeared to be a last attempt at showing remorse.
I would honestly at that point I would not care. Like, it don't matter.
Additionally, Jaleel's attorney made a final attempt at saving face.
And he knows that he can't go back in time and undo what he did.
Despite the tears and the apologies, Judge Charles Kubicki, presiding over the case in Hamilton County Common Pleas Court, denied Smith Riley's request and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The 23-year-old monster that is currently rotting behind bars collapsed to the floor of the courtroom upon receiving his sentence. Smith Riley also received an additional sentence of 11 years for a related attempted murder charge.
I'm not gonna lie, because for something like that is like, bro, like, what forgiveness or like what? That's all you should get, because there was really no point of you doing that. You just really just ran up to them and killed. But well, that guy's lucky he's alive. It should have been two, you know what I mean? And for what reason? He wasn't defending himself. It wasn't like a rival gang member. It was just an innocent couple.
However bad you think Smith Riley's case was, it can't be compared to the infamous case of T.J. Lane. This is T.J. Lane, who's facing charges for multiple murders in Ohio. T.J. Lane was a convicted American murderer who gained notoriety after committing a horrific crime at Chardon High School in Ohio. On February 27, 2012, the Ohio Police Department responded to multiple calls from teachers and students that there was an active shooter in the building.
High school, we had shots fired, gunshots.
Another thing, when I was in one thing someone needs to explain this to me, and whoever put this rule into place, we need to talk. This lockdown situation, where some of it makes sense, where you turn off the lights, hide in the room, hide in a corner or whatever, stay away from the door, that makes sense. But why are they so strict on, but you have to stay in the school? It's like, I'm not gonna lie, if someone sprang up the school, like let's say if I'm on the opposite end of the school and someone's shooting up the other side of the school just going crazy, I'm not gonna lie, what is the point of me staying in? And if I could get out the door window right there and run as far as I'm doing, why would I stay in that school? And I swear the teachers and everybody used to be so strict on that, like you have to. I'm like, but what sense does that make? Because realistically, if a man was in a school and let's say he just didn't have a gun, let's say he just had all the equipment, a little door isn't stopping him from busting through that door. Once he had a grenade, I'm the man. Like, there's no, like, what? He had a suicide bomber to blow up the whole. Like, no, I'm not staying. Teacher holding me back. Get off me. I'm running out. Like, I'm not staying in here.
According to police reports, Lane entered the school and headed to the cafeteria. It was here that TJ Lane opened fire and killed 3 students and severely injured 3 others. 6 people got physically harmed at the hands of TJ Lane that day, but hundreds, if not thousands of people left Chardon High School on February 27, 2012, with intangible pain that will last through eternity.
And it's crazy. Now looking back at high school, sometimes you'd be like something at high school, like, I don't know, for some reason, like, back in the day, I'm not gonna lie, back in the day, well, even nowadays, I don't know. It's a weird flow of, I remember when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school, I remember I would look at grade 8s. So it's grade 8 and then into high school, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. I remember I look at some grade 8s and I'd be like, yo, these look like fully grown men. And I'm like, why are we so, like, small compared to them? Some of them. I'm not gonna lie, but then some kids, like, I don't know, like, some kids nowadays look grown, but they're young. But back in the day, it was like the opposite. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like now I'm trying to wonder, because I'm not gonna lie, like, do young people look more older, or older people look younger? Like, because now looking at these kids, I'm like, yo, these kids look like babies. But in high school, you are still young. But then sometimes there's those group of kids that just look way older than they are, and it's just weird. But even if they do look older, high school, you're still so young. Like, take it in. Like, you're still basically a baby in high school. So for you to go through that is crazy.
Glances of your friends laying all over the place. There's blood. There's people screaming. Everybody's running in different directions, and you're just trying to get out.
I saw a kid holding a gun, pointing it towards a group of kids.
Do you remember the look on the gunman's face?
I never looked at his face. I just looked at the gun. I still can't think about it all because it's just so scary.
Lane's actions sent shockwaves through the community. He was swiftly apprehended and charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. As if the murders were not bad enough, Lane showed no remorse for his actions at the trial and refused to cooperate with his attorneys. Instead, he appeared in court wearing a t-shirt with the word killer written on it, and even gave the middle finger to the victims' families. During the sentencing hearing, Lane made a shocking statement.
Saying pull the trigger to kill your sons, now masturbates to memory.
The statement caused outrage and disgust, not only among the families of the victims, but also across the entire nation. The judge presiding over the case, Judge David Fury, described Lane's behavior as heinous, unprovoked, and senseless.
I don't want to judge with that name.
To 3 life sentences in prison without parole. Lane didn't even bat an eyelid when he heard his sentence. He remained emotionless and unremorseful. Lane's behavior and reactions.
And I'm not gonna lie, that's why kids like that, like, you gotta watch out for, like, especially in any settings, not even just school, but just in general. You know, like, and see, I don't know his backstory. I don't know if he got bullied, all that. Even though if he did, okay, it's a reason, but he still shouldn't have done it. But still, sometimes you gotta just realize and really just, you need to just care for people. Don't be mean to people. You know what I mean? Like, for real, you don't know. Make fun of him and then boom, next day get shot up. But let's say you're nice to him, always caring for him. When he was going through it, he's like, oh, I remember this kid. He was nice to me. Like, I even remember a video years ago, and it was like a not self-aware. It was like a not like a. It was like basically, I don't know how to describe the video, but basically it was just like, it showed like a high school scenery, and it showed different scenes, and basically the main shots were like, this guy had a crush on this girl, and every scene will be different scenes of him trying to get the girl. Like, he'll leave a note at her locker, they'll meet at a library, eventually go out like on a date, not a date, but everything was happening in high school, and they're just talking, and that's what it tried to make you focus on the video. But in every scene there was a kid like him, and there were signs of him being bullied. Like in the first scene he was bullied, the second scene he was bullied again, the third scene he was searching up gun videos in the library, and the last scene it's like the couple talking, finally meeting each other in the library talking, and him and that kid that's getting bullied, he walked in and he starts shooting up the place, and then the video goes back and shows you you're focused on that, but you weren't focusing on him, and it just signs leading up into him shooting up the school.
Were likened to that of a psychopath. However, not every every convict remained emotionless after hearing their sentence, like in the case of Ryan Stone. This is Ryan Stone, who is facing charges for going on a crime splurge throughout the nation, including kidnapping and assault, all of which was captured and broadcasted live by helicopters.
GTA for real.
The chase began after Stone hijacked a car with a 4-year-old boy inside and drove off, leading police on a dangerous pursuit that lasted more than an hour. During the chase, Stone drove up to 100 miles per hour and was reckless in every regard of the word. He's seen here overtaking an innocent civilian on the highway, throwing them out of the car before carrying on in the new vehicle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's not all. Watch here as he exits the highway, opens the car door at full speed, then slams onto the brakes right before crashing into another car parked in an intersection. Investigators believe this was a sorry attempt at another carjacking. Stone also crashed into several other vehicles during this chase, causing numerous injuries. At one point, he even came inches from taking out a policeman who was trying to place stop sticks on the highway. He eventually crashed the stolen car and attempted to flee on foot.
Nah, he ain't getting away with that type of running. But why? What's the point? Like, why is he? No, that car's jacked though. Oh yeah, he not getting away with that speed. I'm sorry.
However, he was quickly apprehended by police and placed in a holding cell. As if Stone's actions weren't bad enough, he was caught on tape boasting about his actions to a friend who visited him in the cell.
Hey, did you know I made the news in the UK and Australia? What? Yeah, my lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia.
Nah, he giving me joke vibes.
Grand Theft Auto on YouTube,
no, that's why I said
YouTube
YouTube
comes up first.
But why?
Ryan also believed that he should be compensated.
Wait, why are these people visiting him? Like, just to be like, to check up, or like
For his viral car chase, because the news channels are using his car chase footage.
I'm gonna contact Channel 7 News, or have you contact Channel 7 News or somebody.
No, that's crazy.
You guys are getting paid using my name.
Stone was charged with 26 crimes involving kidnapping, motor vehicle theft, assault, and eluding police. Stone's sentencing hearing was emotional. In court, many of his victims and their families can be heard speaking about the impact of his crimes on their lives. Some spoke of physical injuries they had sustained in the crash, while others described the emotional trauma they had experienced due to the incident. Stone spoke at the hearing.
That's him?
He cried, expressed remorse for his actions, and apologized to his victims.
But he doesn't look different. I don't know his hair, but how's his hair all gelled up though? Like, he got really I thought he wasn't gonna be in jail. I don't know, but how do you do something like that? Like, how you just go full GTA mode, stealing cars, ramming into them, almost running over a police officer, and then eventually be like, oh damn, I'm going to jail, and start crying and feeling bad. Like, I don't even know these tears are real. Maybe they are, because he really realizes what's gonna happen. Maybe they're fake, but like, how you just get like realize, oh damn, like I'm at, like, what goes through your head to even do something like that? Like,
isn't it ironic that in the same week, Ryan was captured in the video on the left, laughing and boasting about his crimes, and on the other video on the right, he's seen crying and begging for sympathy from the court, as he finally realized the severity of his actions.
But how do you find? I don't think how you find these. How do you finally realize that though? Like,
Despite his apology, the judge in the case was unmoved, noting that Stone had shown a pattern of criminal behavior and that he posed a threat to society. The judge handed down the maximum sentence possible. Stone pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to 160 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Stone was in tears when he learned he'd spend the rest of his life in prison. Stone blamed his actions on drugs, and his show of remorse might be sincere. However, some convicts are rather shocked by their sentences, like in the case of Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari.
I'm sorry, but that man was shook. I'm not gonna lie though, crazy small. I watched a bunch of fights. I watched people jump over railings last night. I'm expecting fights. I think these are just the wildest things people have done, but
this is Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari.
I don't think I'm gonna see no
facing
fights.
charges for first-degree murder in Michigan. Seth and Tatiana were the parents of 10-month-old Marianne Welch, who police said died of malnutrition and dehydration due to neglect on August 2nd, 2018, in Solon Township, Kent County.
Nah, that's how you know there's like, whoa, what happened? Oh no, I muted it. But sometimes, bro, you really gotta understand, like, in the Bible says we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, like, for real. Sometimes you gotta understand there's evil forces out there. Like, sometimes if you just think about it like this, humans, we're naturally wicked at heart. But sometimes you hear people do like unthinkable things, especially to children, to animals, just in general. And people are like, how do they do that? Like, how could someone do that? Sometimes it's not them. It's a spirit controlling them, tempting them. You always hear people say, the devil made me do this. I had thoughts in my head, this and that. And people never believe them. And it's like, nah, but how could someone truly be that wicked? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you hear stuff, you're like, there's no way a natural human being could just... Because who just thinks to go abuse a child? And you always think, because Satan, right? Because Satan's different. There's different types of, like humans, we get mad, and then, you always get mad at somebody, and it's like, damn, you have evil thoughts, and like, I'll do this to this person, kill this man, of course. But Satan and like, those are different type. Like, they enjoy, like, their whole existence is to torment, hurt, pain, and they love it. Like, it brings them joy. You know what I mean? There's so many people out there that are demon possessed, and we don't even know. You don't even know.
Involved with the family since 2014 after THC was found in the system of their firstborn child. Mary weighed only 8 pounds at the time of her death.
That's sad,
her parents refused to seek medical help, citing religious reasons and distrust of the medical system. The family home was found to be citing religious 8 pounds at the time of her death. Her parents refused to seek medical help, citing religious reasons and
seek medical help because of what religion are they?
Distrust of the medical system. The family home was found to be unhygienic.
And you don't trust the medical system. Well, true, I don't 100% trust them too, but what else are you gonna do?
During the initial investigation, with evidence of vermin, insects, and mold.
That's nasty.
The doctor who performed the autopsy confirmed that Mary was suffering from chronic malnutrition caused by withholding food and water. Seth's call to 911 revealed their level of neglect for their daughter.
And he said, when you found her, she was already believed to be deceased, right? Yes. And that's when you consulted with a lawyer? Yep. Do you believe she was beyond help already? Oh, yeah. She was dead at the door now.
When in court, the prosecutors made sure to
She was dead at the door as a doorman.
Oh, yeah. She was dead at the door now.
When in court, the prosecutors made sure to highlight just how neglectful the parents were of their 10-month-old child.
You didn't know that. And don't tell me you didn't intend that, because you didn't get her little tush out of that crib. You left her in there. You ignored her because she was an inconvenience.
The couple was initially charged.
The way I would flip, like, if I was bruh, I don't even care how many police officers in there. I'm gonna think I'm John Wicker, but the way I'm flinging over that, like, I could just, like, imagine that's like someone you knew and someone I couldn't control. That's crazy.
With felony homicide murder in August 2018. In June 2020, Seth Welch was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. In 2021, Fusari testified that
Enlisted is the free brand new online World War II shooter. Command a squad of soldiers and participate in legendary battles of the Second World War. Right now, you can join.
Her husband was abusive and that she was not allowed to take Mary to the doctor.
He got very angry with me. He smacked me across the face and he told me that he knows he said, "You know what the I think about doctors. I told you Mary is fine. She's fine, now drop it."
In November 2021, Fusari was sentenced to life without parole for first-degree murder and an additional 15 to 30 years for first-degree child abuse. When the judge pronounced their life sentence, Seth's mouth dropped open in shock and Fusari started crying. For many people, this couple got what they deserved. However, this wasn't the only time a convict got a sentence that felt like justice. There was the case of Esteban Carpio.
Why does this man look like a whole X-Men? But no, how are they so, like, how are they, like, I just don't get how you're not surprised, though. Like, I don't know, like, are you more surprised that you got caught, or are you more surprised of your sentence? I think it's because they get caught, because it's like, bro, okay, maybe they really thought their excuses would work. Because I'm like, I think they knew what was going to happen if they didn't find out they killed their child. But I think they just didn't think they were going to get caught.
This is Esteban Carpio, who is facing charges for murder in Rhode Island. Carpio is an American murderer who killed a detective at a Providence police station in 2005. Providence Police Detective Sergeant James L. Allen and another detective were questioning Carpio at the Providence Police headquarters for accosting an 85-year-old woman, Madeline Gata. According to police reports, the second detective left to the third-floor interview room to retrieve some water. It was here where things took a turn for the worst.
Carpio had asked for water, and the two detectives that were in there with him, one left to go get the water and locked the door behind him. And they tragically heard Detective Allen say, "I think he's going to kill me. He's got my gun. He's going to kill me." By the time they broke it down, the officer was dying, and Carpio had jumped out the window.
However, he was recaptured a few minutes later amid struggles with the police. But that was not the end of the drama. Due to the risky jump and struggles with the police, Carpio sustained injuries. When it came time for his sentencing, Carpio came to court wearing a mask designed to keep him from spitting at or biting others. His face was red, bruised, and swollen. When he appeared in court, his family members screamed and accused the police of brutality.
Well, that was definitely the police.
The family believed that they forced him to wear the mask to try and hide the brutal revenge beating they gave Carpio behind closed doors.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't even mess with the cops. I don't even mess with the cops. Like, honestly, sometimes I'll be like, they deserve, like, some cops deserve to get stretched. I can't even lie. Like, it is what it is. Like, cops are the biggest gangs out there. They're a gang themselves. Like, and they hella corrupt too. And what makes it worse is because we give cops that authority to protect and serve, but they're corrupt. They plant evidence, or sabotage, you know what I mean? So it's like, when you have that level of authority and you abuse it, your punishment has to be greater. Like, your punishment literally has to, because you have that authority. You have that greater authority. So when it comes to your punishment and you're dealing of, it has to be worse than just a regular person doing it. You know what I mean? But in this case, it's crazy, because if they stand on justice, and they just, you know what I mean, and like how they don't let people, if a guy's daughter, a man's daughter gets killed, and they're in the same and he sees the killer, he can't go attack it. The cops won't allow that. But yeah, because one of theirs is taken, now they want to go beat him up. I understand where they're coming from, yes, but with their whole law and their whole thing, they shouldn't beat him up then. So it's like, honestly, at that point, yeah, he killed one of yours, but it is what it is.
To wear the mask to try and hide the brutal revenge beating they gave Carpio behind closed doors. In fact, Carpio's
and it's crazy though. Like, imagine all the people in jail that could get beat up, even imprisoned by cops, and they won't even know. I'm not gonna lie, y'all need to watch this one movie. I think it's called Sleepers. Is Brad Pitt in it? I don't know, but basically it's about like four brothers and they're troublemakers. I think it's in New York. The story takes place in New York. Four brothers, troublemakers in their teenage years, and I don't know what they do, but eventually they get arrested, all of them, and they meet this officer. This officer takes care of them when I think because they have to go to juvie. They don't go to jail because they're underage. But then, one officer, or maybe a couple officers, since they're young, the dude does a little something to them, and then they get older, and then you know, I'm gonna have to watch that today, to be honest. But yeah, you need to watch that movie though. For it's a good one. It's a good one. Came out in the 90s, I'm pretty sure.
Aunt went on live TV to say this.
It's police brutality. He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried and tried, and he didn't deserve this.
However, Providence Police Chief Dean M. Esserman argued that Carpio's injuries were sustained when he jumped from the third-floor interview room and resisted arrest. The FBI later investigated the police, but it was concluded
Unless the man fell on his face. Unless the man fell on his face?
that they did not use excessive force.
No civil rights violation when injuries.
I don't know. I don't believe the cops anyway. So
incident to arrest, meaning if he's fighting the police officers, the officers have the right to use whatever.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, he definitely didn't. That drop, it did look like a good drop, but that drop's not gonna bust you up like that though.
Force
Look at his eyes.
Necessary to subdue.
We can't even see the rest of his face. So.
On June 27, 2006, a jury found Carpio guilty of the murder of Detective Allen and the stabbing of Madeline Gatta. Despite his plea of insanity, Carpio was sentenced to life in prison without parole. At first, he showed little reaction to his sentence and remained unmoved. However, later, in an attempt to win over the jury, he was heard apologizing for his actions.
Every day, I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
Carpio claimed he was suffering from mental illness at the time of the crime, but the court didn't entertain the claims. However evil you think Carpio is, how does he compare to Kayla Mendoza, who tweeted this the same night she took two girls' lives in a deadly drunk driving crash? This is Kayla Mendoza.
Ms. Mendoza, to two counts of DUI manslaughter. That's count 1 and count 3. How do you plead?
Too drunk to kill. Why do I... why do I know people like that? I don't know them. But like something like what she said right there is like, I know certain people that would actually do that, but not actually go but like they would do something crazy and be like too drunk, literally just say like tweet that on Twitter and go about their day.
Who is facing charges for double manslaughter, among other charges, in Florida. The 20-year-old woman who was not licensed to drive was convicted of the murder of 2 women while drunk driving in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on November 17th, 2013.
Nah, that's why. You know what's so crazy? Even up to this day, like, women scare me. I remember this game called Until Dawn. It's a decision-based game. I love decision-based games. But basically, in certain parts of the game, you have to, like, tell you, like, they will give you a choice. What do you fear more? And, like, one of them was men or women. I'm like, honestly, women, because with a man, it's just like, when you have a problem with a man, it's just like, all right, right away, I'm gonna deal with you. I could do anything to you right then and there. You know what I mean? And of course, if a man punches a man, it's okay, you wrestle a man. But you know, a man do it to a woman, you shouldn't. But not even in that regard. And I mean in a regard of like, women are not more sadistic, but more calculated and cunning. Most of them. Men are like that too. Don't get me wrong, but women, it's like, for example. A woman, let's say a woman needs to deal with a man, right? She can't just sometimes she's not going to just slap the man, you know, just because the man probably overpower her for the most part. So she has to think of cunning ways to deceive the man, hurt the man. Like, even I was going to react to a video before this or after this, because I reacted to it a long time, but I want to react to it again. A woman basically set up her husband to die. Like, she hired a hitman. She hired a hitman to go assassinate her husband, but her husband caught on before she knew. He found out. But to go to that level of hiring a hitman on your own husband, it's just crazy and calculated. And the way she did it, it's crazy out here, bro.
13. Before the crash, Mendoza went to a local bar with her manager and colleagues from her job, where she drank 2 fishbowl margaritas. A few hours later, Mendoza got behind the wheel of a Hyundai Sonata and drove the wrong way on the Sawgrass Expressway.
Kayla hopped into her car and went speeding the wrong way down the freeway at more than 80 miles an hour. She collided head-on with another car, killing these 2 beautiful young women, Marissa Cotroneo and Caitlin Ferrante, both just 21.
Mendoza was charged with 2 counts of DUI manslaughter while impaired, 2 counts of DUI manslaughter with an unlawful blood alcohol level, 2 counts of vehicular homicide, and 2 counts of driving without a license causing death. Mendoza's then boyfriend owned the Hyundai Sonata involved in the crash and explained that the too drunk to care tweet was directed toward him.
The too drunk to care tweet was for my boyfriend because he was upset I was out, hanging out with them and with Marcelo drinking because he wanted me to be home.
The Ferrante and Cotroneo families filed lawsuits against Mendoza, her boyfriend, the T-Mobile store where Mendoza was employed, and the Tijuana Taxi Company. On May 4, 2015, 2 months after pleading guilty to 2 DUI manslaughter charges, Mendoza was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Mendoza was apologetic throughout the trial. When she heard her sentence, her apology and crying intensified.
No matter how much time passes, I'm gonna live with that in my heart every day.
After her sentence, Mendoza will also serve 6 years of probation and is permanently banned from driving a motor vehicle. Mendoza's apologies and remorse showed that she may yet be saved. However, the same cannot be said for Adrian Dunn.
Oh, God.
This is Adrian Dunn, who is
This man look like Black Air
facing
Force
charges
energy.
for murder in San Antonio.
Is that a tattoo on his head or his lineup?
Adrian, an ex-convict, was
Hold up. Phone blow. But what is that though?
sentenced for the murder of Raheem Tariq Charles. Police said that Adrian shot Charles in the back during a drug deal in a parking lot on July 16, 2012. To make matters worse, this wasn't even Dunn's first encounter with law enforcement.
To prison twice for possessing a firearm after this murder. He committed another shooting a month before this murder. And he's shown zero remorse.
But you know what's so crazy? The whole system is low-key kind of corrupt in a sense. Like, even, like, the lawyer... Damn. But nah, as I was saying, like, I was just listening to her speak. I was just thinking about lawyers. And you really think about it, too. Like, I don't even know. Because basically a lawyer's job is to get you out your case, right? Even if you're a murderer. But when you think about it like that, that's kind of messed up. Unless like you're not guilty, like 100%, it's like okay. But let's say the lawyer knows you're guilty. You're trying to help a murderer out in a sense. Like there's a movie I watched called Devil's Advocate, and it was basically like that. Like the guy still not sold his soul, but basically it was kind of like he was helping bad guys that like didn't deserve it. Like that's why I always wonder too, like. Let's say like when God comes back, right? God, you have to be judged, and you're a lawyer, and you're like one of the best lawyers out, but you know for a fact you helped murderers escape like their prison sentence, or like how does that, like how do you even feel though at night though? Maybe you get paid good, but then it's like it weighs on your conscience, you know, like damn, he a killer for real, he a pedo, he's all this, but I helped him.
Prosecutors urged the jury to impose the maximum sentence, noting that Adrian had an extensive criminal history and had shown no remorse for the murder. Prosecutor Jason Goss can be seen here holding the hand of the victim's parents. Before arguing to the jury that a life sentence was necessary to prevent another family from suffering, as Charles' family had.
Her son, who has to suffer, and this family who has to suffer because of the defendant. And that's why we're asking you for a life sentence.
If you thought the crimes were horrendous, wait till you see how Adrian reacted to his sentence. Throughout the trial, Adrian showed no remorse and couldn't have been less concerned. He was found guilty of the crime. Still, his attorney argued that a sentence of 35 to 40 years would be more appropriate. His reasoning?
I'll give Adrian a chance to go into prison and try to make something of himself so that when he gets out, if he ever gets out, he can try to be an asset to our community.
However, the jury deliberated for just 2 hours before returning with a sentence of life in prison. As the jury's decision was read out, Adrian began to fight with Bexar County Sheriff's deputies, attempting to escort him from the courtroom. Dunn's behavior was marked by profanity and outbursts. He was eventually subdued and removed from the court. Adrian's case can be termed a drug case gone bad. However, while he remains stoic and combative, there are other convicts who break down in court and feel genuine remorse for their actions, like in the case of
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. 32, man. I'm gonna have to just break this into two, honestly, for right now. Cause man, I'm gonna be back soon. Like, gotta do something real quick. I didn't know this video was this long, but we're gonna save this. We're gonna get back to this in a part 2. Cause I do see there's still other videos for me to react to. There's a lot. So yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. Some of these people, it's like they do the crime and then they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry now." I'm like, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. But you know, hopefully most of these guys get their life around, even though most of them probably gonna be in jail their whole life. Hopefully they think about what they did and, like, you know, ask for forgiveness for God. You know what I mean? Cause shoot, the court didn't forgive him, but hopefully God will. So y'all stay blessed. I'll see you on the next one.